This is WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana, and you are watching When It Was Real with noted wrestling historian, author, actor, and wrestling manager Nikita Breznikov, and pro wrestling author and podcaster Benny Scala, found only on the Playa Entertainment Network. Arriba!
Good evening, folks, and welcome to When It Was Real, the show that takes you back in time when professional wrestling was sublime. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. The Playa, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, a.k.a. Sam Mealy. Remember him?
You keep reminding me, so yes.
The manager of the Minnesota Twins, and I think the Angels too. And to answer that question from the great Arn Anderson, what's causing all this? It's that guy in the box. He most definitely rocks. He is the one and only Nikita Breznikov. Nikita, how are you, my friend?
Well, Benny, I got to tell you, 1 year. Oy vey, I couldn't believe it.
I know.
It's like
unreal. Well, let's hear from Mr. Bur Brower real quick, and then we will go on to our really, really big shoe, as that song says. We don't have London Lee or Moms Mabley or Godfrey Cambridge, but we got a really big show. Here we go. Wrestling fans, whether you're in the ring or just stuck in traffic, life can hit harder than a steel chair on a Saturday night. And when it does, you need someone in your corner who knows how to fight back. Enter the Bur Brower Law Firm, laying down legal smackdown since 1973. That's right, over 50 years of grappling with the toughest cases and never tapping out. You don't last that long in the legal game unless you've got the skill, the grit, and the heart of a champion. Walk into Adam Bur Brower's office and you'll feel like you're stepping into a Hall of Fame locker room. Posters of Ernie the Cat Ladd and Johnny Rods on the walls, and tattoos of superstar Billy Graham and Bret the Hitman Hart on his body. Just like Bret was the excellence of execution, Adam Bur Brower is the excellence of elocution. Precise, persuasive, and powerful, whether he's in court or cutting a promo in front of the judge. If you've ever been in an accident and need a real legal heavyweight, call Adam Bur Brower. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Hit up burbrowerlaw.com and follow Adam on Facebook. And when you call, make sure you tell him that Nikita and the Playa sent you. The Bur Brower Law Firm. Legal justice with main event style. Well, Nikita, this is our 1 year anniversary. Let me flash up this graphic. Can you believe it?
Do you remember the Flintstones?
Of course.
They used to have that, whoa, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Oh, absolutely.
And nobody ever knows what the other words are. But
no, because it's like Oh Canada. You know, Oh Canada, and yeah, pretty much it.
Or like WKRP with the ending credits. You don't know what he's singing, Steve Carlisle, but it's like people have tried to decipher it, just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yes, 1 year. Benny, I thank you because you're the man. I couldn't do any of this. I mean, people will be looking at a blank screen. It's like the one day.
We're the team. So yeah, let's do a toast for 1 year, and the best is yet to come, right?
Oh, I agree with that. Yes. Love you. Because that one night you had a bad storm and you blacked out. And then people were like, Nikita, we can hear, but it's like, I can't see you. And whoever said in the comments, Adam West is the real Batman last week, I 1,000% agree with you. You better believe it.
Oh, no, I would never argue. I mean, when somebody says Batman, my mind immediately defaults to Adam West. I mean, the movie guys, a couple of them were really great, but nah, it's always Adam West.
Half-wits.
And Burt Ward.
Yeah. I mean, what happened? Now he can play Jabba the Hutt, but that's another story.
He's still around?
Yes. He and Julie Newmar. There are some of the lower, I hate to use that word, let's say lesser stars. Okay, they made each episode, just like you can't have a card without everyone on it. Same thing with the television show. They just had the 60-year reunion in LA, and a lot, especially the ladies, they came back to appear, and it's great. But as far as like the main people that you'd see in the opening credits, Julie Newmar, she's still kicking. Unreal.
She's gotta be 90 something, no?
Yeah. In fact, she said that's it. She's not, no more appearances after that last one on January 12th. She's done. It's enough. She's traveling. Man.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm in pretty damn good shape, but the one thing I like to stay close to home.
Traveling is one of my fucking desires. Airlines and the airports don't make it any easier or better.
Absolutely not,
man.
All right. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about tonight?
We're going to ring the bell and get it started, and let Benny start off with the music.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Let's see. For this,
so this is March 1st, 1980 cash box,
and it's the same date that we're covering initially. March the 1st, perfect timing. For some reason, Saturday would be when they would put out the Billboard Top 40, right?
Yeah, this is actually Cashbox, very, very similar. This one's a lot more accessible, but number one spot, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. My note about Queen, I said Queen didn't just release songs, they released anthems. I mean, We Are the Champions, and we all sing it. Another one, Bites the Dust. We all sing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, damn, Sam, they knew what they were doing for sure. Absolutely. It's like we come out every week, and thank you for everybody that tunes in.
Yes,
all over the world. Thank you for people that tune in. But you just hope that people like what you're doing, and you want to do something that's going to leave a lasting impression. And boy, did they do it.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I mean, when somebody can still sing your songs verbatim, 46 years later, you did something right.
Yes.
All right. Who's number 2? Longer. This is the song that put Dan Fogelberg on the map. Had a couple of big hits after it played. I think last week he had Auld Lang Syne on the charts.
Right.
Yeah.
That was 81. So here you are. This is one of the originals, or his first. And actually, damn good song. I mean, Lover's kind of gimmick song. It's nice.
Oh, it's a great song. Actually, that was, believe it or not, that was the song for my first wedding, October 11th.
See, there you go. What it should say, longer than the fucking honeymoon, and like 3 years. If you make it like 3 years, you're doing great, and then 5 and whatever. But it's like, no, don't come up with any of this bullshit longer than eternity and all that. Save that bullshit.
Well, I have to add, in the spirit of total transparency, I don't know if my ex-wife is listening or not, but the name of the band was called Long Island Sound, which I thought was a pretty catchy name for a band, right?
I know that for some reason.
Do you? Well, they at the reception, they said, "Oh, we don't have the music for longer." It's like, okay. So they played If by Bread, which is another great song.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. But that was supposed to be my wedding song. I'll put it that way. Now, this next song, Yes, I'm Ready, which I liked. It says Terry DeSario with Casey. And I think Casey should have got top billing because this was her one and only foray into the top 40. Of course, Casey lived in it.
Yeah, and you got to hear him without a lot. I mean, always good music, but without a lot of noise in the background with the music. You could hear his good singing voice there.
Casey, to me, very underrated performer. I mean, he has withstood his music has withstood the test of time. I can always enjoy a good Casey song.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Cruz and Smokey Robinson had 37 top 40 hits. And here's a couple of songs he wrote. My Girl by The Temptations, My Guy by Mary Wells, Ain't That Peculiar by Marvin Gaye. And I mean, the list literally goes on and on. Now, Smokey's in a little bit of legal trouble right now doing his best to emulate Bill Cosby. I think Smokey is about 86, but he's facing a civil lawsuit, I think, by a bunch of housekeepers that work for him in both California and Nevada, sexual assault, exposure, things like that. So,
look, I was in charge of the domestic violence unit for the whole city of Baltimore, and we dug into a lot of that. Man, you got a grain of salt and both eyes and listen to everything, because sometimes it's not what it appears. Good luck to him. If he's guilty, then you take the hit, but if not,
might put a little dent in his $250 million net worth. I hope he's not, because, geez, you talk about a career.
Yeah.
I don't want his legacy to be tarnished, but like you said, if he's guilty, of course, he should be punished.
Yeah. But, wow, there's a guy that just timeless, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, again, cruising. I mean, how many songs? Tears of a Clown.
Yeah. Well, I think Victoria, my wife, and we survived 27 years. She, one of her first albums her father got for her was Smokey Robinson. So,
yeah,
big fan with him.
Yeah, one of these guys you can't not like him. Next is Donna Summer on the radio from 1975 through 1979. I don't think there was ever a week that Donna Summer was not on the chart with one song or another.
Yeah, and man, I'd get in line to take her on a date without a doubt. She was
heck yeah.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely. Beautiful woman.
Hottie.
Died way too soon. And
but I love that song.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful song. And Rock With You, Michael Jackson. That was his second hit from the Off the Wall album. My note is one of Michael's albums was better than most artists' careers.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And it lived in our heads. Rock With You. I mean, you just hear a couple of notes and you know where you're going with it. So yeah, it was
absolutely
wonderful song.
All right, working my way back to you.
I believe was on the same album with.
Yes, that was the first. Yeah, that was his first hit from the album.
Very good.
Yeah, like I said, he would routinely have 5 to 7 hits just from one album, which most artists would aspire to for their whole career.
Excellent.
Number 7, working my way back to you, The Spinners, which is a cover of the great Four Seasons song.
Yeah, but I like their version better.
They did it very, very well. Another great band. Andy Gibb, number 8 with Desire. So Andy Gibb on March 1st, 1980 was a few days short of his 22nd birthday, and this was his 6th top 10 song. You thought the guy was on a rocket to the moon, but this was his last, and he was gone. I think 1988 he passed away.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that was it for him. Wow.
Yeah, drugs. Sad.
9
is Coward of the County, Kenny Rogers. What was the first? My first memory of Kenny Rogers was I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
That and Lucille, Don't Take Your Love to Town.
And yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. And he was with another bunch. It wasn't his single name. Kenny Rogers in the first edition.
On the first edition. And then he had his own TV show, I think in early 1970. I think he was still with them. And then eventually he went off by himself and became a megastar.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. He hit the grand slam, man.
Yep. And even I love this chicken place, the Roasters. Good chicken.
Really? I don't think I ever had that.
I don't know. I know. I mean, I was living on Long Island in the mid 90s, and it was a big thing then. I don't know how many franchises they had. It's long gone now, but it was really good chicken.
It's tough. Used to be you wanted to feed the masses, go get a bucket of chicken or a pizza. Fuck, you can't do that anymore. That shit's expensive. A fucking bucket of chicken's almost $35.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Man.
That's ridiculous. Steve with a great. I remember Kenny Rogers when he was the 4th starter on the Yankees in '98. I believe that Kenny Rogers actually pitched the perfect game. It wasn't with the Yankees. Might have been with the Rangers.
Now that's out of my league.
Lefty. It's like
But
shoeless Joe Jackson.
if you're talking baseball, and now working in with what you said with Smokey Robinson, this Epstein, that's all they talk. Epstein. You know what comes to my mind when I hear Epstein? Mike Epstein. Yeah, it's like,
oh yeah,
well, you know, him and Hondo, that was a hell of a right-left combination of power stepping to the plate. And when he went to Oakland, so it's like, it's funny how things are in our minds, you know, of whatever field you talk about when somebody mentions something.
right.
It's like, yeah, that's for me. Epstein will always be Mike Epstein.
Mike
What
Epstein,
a big
not a bad lefty hitter. Didn't quite live up to his hype, but he had a solid career.
He broke Clay Darample's leg in 1970, sliding into home, Orioles' third string catcher, and he was big. Yeah.
Remember him?
Poor Dalrymple. He didn't get he basically started with the Phillies.
He was like Jim Bunning's designated catcher, if I remember right.
There you go. Probably caught the perfect game, right?
On Father's Day, 1964. Yes, sir.
And it's like when he came to the Orioles with Etcher, Barron, and Hendricks, you're going to basically spend most of your time heating up the bullpen. But he got to play, and Weaver, pinch hit master, would bring that left-handed bat in from time to time. So it was all a good deal.
Yeah. Last but not least, another brick in the wall by Pink Floyd. So this was their. I played my radio show last week was about Money, and of course I played Money by Pink Floyd, which is the first song I ever heard a cuss word in. But this was their big hit. They weren't really a singles band, you know. They're most of the albums. So a couple of their album tracks they turned into singles. This was their highest rated one ever.
Then they got revived years later. It was like a cult following with a lot of kids just like picked up another brick in the wall. It was almost like Zombie. You know, they would just march around and chant that. Kind of wild. Yeah. Again, you know, you've hit the mark. That's it. You've made, bang, you've done it. You can't beat that.
All right. So now we're going to we talked about baseball. We talked about, somebody said the other Epstein is Juan Epstein. Remember him from Welcome Back, Kotter?
Because I see pictures on Facebook all the time. Look, I was with Epstein. So-and-so was with Epstein. It's like, and they use that picture.
Yeah, so was Arnold Horshack, right?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah. I'm not making light of that. I mean, if what they say is true, cut the bastard's head off and then feed him to the dogs. But I don't know. I wasn't there. None of my business. Here.
Never went to the island. Wasn't invited. Wouldn't have went anyway.
No. Okay, buddy. Ring the bell.
Ding, ding.
Now, the picture that I put up on my page for this day, March the 1st, 1980. And we're talking about Bruno Sammartino, his first match off of television after the Larry Zbyszko incident. This before Madison Square Garden, any other arena. It took place at the Spectrum. And it begs the question, why? Why not wait for the Garden? And they had only shown because when January 22nd was when the third hour or the second hour actually was taped. So by the time it hit the market, because the last time, and we covered February 9th, you know, Vince was bringing this up and they were talking about the drama with Zbyszko. It's almost, for people that don't know, luscious Johnny Valiant. I mean, Larry's a true story. I mean, he did knock on Bruno's door. It's no bullshit. They knew each other.
Story many times. Crawl through the hedges.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, okay, we always talk that word true fiction, and it's like this played it all the way through, but it's also Johnny Valiant's story. He went, knocked on the door one day, Mr. Sammartino, you know, I like to be a wrestler. Bruno helped him along in so many ways, more than just say, okay, kid, I'll help you get started. But when the Valiant brothers got kicked off starting when they began, I should say. Let me change my vernacular. Not kicked off like kicked off a team, but when they started, on that September the 7th of 73 for Bruno in Pittsburgh, through Dick the Bruiser, through Bobby Heenan. It was Bobby Heenan's idea. And then he got a hold of the Bear Man, who got a hold of Dick the Bruiser. And it's like, okay, they put them together. And then Bruno and Dick the Bruiser are tag champions. They're fighting the Valiants. And then Bruno was like, man, as we always say, Bruno was one of the best talent scouts and bookers that they had unknowingly. It's like, you got to get these guys in here. And believe me, we're going to cover the Valiant Brothers. And, well, they come up so many times.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the card February 17th with Bruno and Arion, the main event. And for some reason, they weren't defending the belts against Strongbow and Monsoon, but nevertheless. So anyway, they decided to start it off at the Spectrum this night. And, you know, it's not that far from Pittsburgh. Well, it's far enough. I mean, it's a hell of a drive, but people definitely were, as they say, frothing at the mouth.
They were there for blood, weren't they?
Well, I'll relate it to the first time at the Capitol Center. They didn't hit Baltimore until June 7th, but the Capitol Center was April 12th, which would be this match's follow-up at the Spectrum. But when you hit those hometowns that meant so much, where Bruno was just idolized, I hate to say like a god, because, you know, there's only God, but it's like he was godlike. I mean, he could do no wrong. Some people try to say, you know, Bruno, what if he had turned heel? It's like, shut the hell up with that stupid shit. I hate that what if nonsense. It's like,
that's crazy.
Anything. He was who he was, and it worked. So shut up. And it was great. Now, there was 2 cards that night, believe it or not, in Falls River, Massachusetts, at the Bank Street Armory. You ever heard of that, Benny?
I have not.
I have from time to time, and it's like the Bank Street Armory. What the hell? And somebody clued me in on it one time. They said, "Oh yeah, Nikita, that was a big place up there in Massachusetts." Probably John Callahan told us, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, yeah.
So let me give you that card real quick. Well, all we have is results, and all we have for the rest of the Spectrum are results, because I don't know how that match leaked out and not the whole show. Look, there was tape trading that went on in the 80s. If you were lucky enough, because somebody asked the question, how do I get access to these matches, you know, and when did they begin at the Spectrum? And somebody said, you know, April of 77. To the best of my knowledge, June 4th with the Chief and Superstar, definitely. And then they went on from there with Dick Graham and Vince. Vince was there until Cal Rudman took over. So sort of on January 12th, but then definitely by February the 9th. Now, nobody was with Dick Graham for this. He was alone. And then starting April 12th, it would be Dick Graham and Cal Rudman. And that's a whole topic all to its own. Maybe we'll cover that one night. They were unique. Yeah, it was like acquiring a taste, like for olives and things like that.
Scotch.
I liked them. You know, it was like they were so stupid they were funny, or like they say, so good they're so bad they're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now you can't take away Cal Rudman's enthusiasm, because he would squeal most of the time and scream. But anyway, for Bank Street Armory, Jose Estrada beat Joe Krenagel. Now he was a Massachusetts guy. I remember that. Or Crugnale, however you pronounce it.
It was Crugnale, I think, right? Yeah, Crugnale.
Yeah, he was a big boxer, because he actually represented when Freddie and Lou had their boxing matches back in Boston. We covered that once before. We brought it up. And yeah, he was, I believe, in Freddie's corner. because Lou had Iron Mike McCord, so that's wild. Angelo Gomez defeated Silvana Sousa from Providence. He's definitely belongs
Providence
up
for
there.
round.
Pete Doherty, Boston Boy, defeated Steve King. Dave Darrow defeated Fred Marzino. Boston. They were all from
Lots
up
of
there.
prelims there. Wow.
Well, yeah, because the rest of the roster was in
Everybody's
Philly.
in Philly, right?
Yeah, and Hogan beat Rene Goulet. Not bad. But the main event, Bobby Duncombe defeated tag champion Ivan Putski, and I'm sure it wasn't by pin. I'm sure it was a count out. I don't even think they blooded. You wouldn't do it for something like that. But you never know. Sometimes they do it. But for that night at the Spectrum, now you got some photos, right, Benny?
I got some slides.
You put the work in, so you hit the slides, and we'll give the results until we get Bruno. Then we'll dig in. Amigo against Mike Masters. Johnny Rodz pinned him at 6:44, and that's good, rightfully so, because now Masters, like we've talked before, he would develop into what Rocky Jones they called him for
Mike
Bruno.
Jones, Rocky Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Bruno's organization that came about in 82. He and Dominic, and they brought in the Valiants because that's what actually got Strongbow and Putski back. And I don't know if the chief was really that anxious to really get involved again. But when the word got around, hey, Bruno's trying to bring him in, then it was like, oh, pull him in here to the Federation. And that's when they throw him with Jules. And it's like, not my favorite representation, but I was still happy. So Amigo gets a pin. Then we see the lady.
Well, real quick, Nikita. I want to give Mike was on Dan and Benny in the ring a couple of times. Hell of a nice guy. Passed away a few years ago.
I didn't know. Yeah, please tell us.
Yeah, he passed away about 2 or 3 years ago, and we didn't even know he was sick. I think he was like 67, 68. Just a nice guy. But he did in 81. He was in California, and he won the NWA Americas title, which is a pretty prestigious title. He won it from Victor Rivera, believe it or not, and he lost it to Bobo. So he had a nice run out there.
I remember you said that a couple of times or once before. That's great. But did he mention when you guys interviewed him, was he Mark Masters that came along in 78 with it looked like Manson with very long hair and a beard, a mustache?
I don't remember, but I'm going to say that probably was not him.
Because this guy was in good, very well proportioned, very good shape, but so stiff. Because Putski had to clock him a couple of times in the TV match. This guy, it was like, it's just not landing. Take it easy, asshole. You're not supposed to fucking kill each other.
Right.
It's television. You got to put the guys over. That's what you're here getting paid for. But this guy was acting like his life was on the line. So I always wondered if it was the same person or not. I guess we'll never know now. So what you got next, Benny? The gal.
The women. Winona Littlehart and Cindy Majors versus Joyce Grable and Vivian St. John.
And they went 19 minutes and 55 seconds. Holy shit.
Wow.
Now, Joyce and Vivian St. John went over. Now, I did meet Joyce at Cauliflower Alley about 4 or 5 years ago. Just a sweetheart. But her and Vicky, oh my, what a team. They are, I would say, in the modern time, in the 80s, they would be like Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre. They were always compared to Vicky and Joyce Grable. Now, Winona Littlehart, I always thought she was a hot number. She was fun to watch. And sorry, guys, but the whole idea with the woman was to get the men's attention. It's just human nature. If mom didn't get dad excited, you wouldn't be here. So that's just the way it works.
Now, Joyce actually won the NWA Women's Tag Team title 5 times, 3 times with Vicky Williams and twice with Wendy Richter.
Wow. But yeah, Cindy Majors, until I read the paper, never heard of her.
Nope, same here.
But I'm sure she came out of Moolah's camp because that was the setup. That's how things were done. Moolah I guess she had like an unwritten contract with Senior. I'll provide the women. And hey, Moolah went all the way back. She won the belt in Baltimore, September 18th of 56. It's like, holy shit. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, she went back forever.
The old Monroe Street Armory. And then they went to the Civic Center in 62 when that was built. But
a lot of controversy with Moolah and some of the ladies, because then a lot of the promoters paid Moolah, not the ladies, and then Moolah would pay the ladies. And so, a lot of women thought they got shorted.
That's what I heard, and then all the other stories. The only thing I can tell you is what Ann Casey told me. She said, look, as far as any of the other accusations, I never witnessed. She said, I stayed with Moolah. I lived at the house for a while. She said, nobody bothered me. Nobody did any of that, but I'm not going to dispute what any of the other ladies say that happened. It wasn't there.
Very polarizing figure, because some of these women absolutely still to this day idolize her, and others think she's the spawn of Satan.
But she goes back to Buddy Rogers, slave girl Moolah.
That's right.
I mean, as a valet, definitely wasn't his manager, but hey, still she learned at the feet of the best, right? I mean, Buddy Rogers was Mr. Showmanship. When people like the Dumont Network featured wrestling, when people had that fucking television that was probably the size of this screen that we look at on the computer, but it was a big box, and it was like there wasn't much on. But pro wrestling, that's why I say it's the longest running infomercial in the history of television, because it was always there. Steve Allen was a broadcaster.
Yes. Actually, so was Joe Garagiola for a bit.
Joe Garagiola did wrestling, yes. Yeah. And it's like, man, people.
I think Dennis James as well, Nikita. Remember him?
Dennis James. People knocked it and scoffed at it, but yet they watched it. They just wouldn't admit it. Kind of like pornography. They own it. It's in the corner of the closet, but they own it.
Yeah.
No, I don't do any of that. Yeah, bullshit. Somebody did a funny joke the other day on Facebook. You know how you can tell if a man never mind. Okay, shut up. Okay, so next up, Ken Patera pinned Dominic DeNucci, 12 minutes and 6 seconds.
On his way to winning the IC title, right?
Well, now he started out January 12th. He actually beat Putski when I count out. Then February he comes back, and no, he wasn't there February 9th. But then he beats Dominic. Then April he beats Goulet. May 5th, after he's got the Intercontinental belt, he beats Putski again, defending the belt. But he's on his way. He's going to have a program with Backlund in Philadelphia. So, yeah, because that's right. Because February 9th he wrestled Bruno up in Boston when it was Backlund and Duncombe. So, sorry, guys, I'm mental. This stuff lives in my brain, thank God. And it saved my life as an abused kid. So that's why I'm always happy to talk about it. And I'll never argue. If someone, like, they talk about today's wrestling, whatever. If you like it, God bless you.
I at the most, to a fan now, it's a thing. To us, it was life and death. And, I think I mentioned my mom was in the hospital from late 69 to early 71, in and out of Downstate Medical Center in Manhattan.
Yeah.
With terminal cancer. Thank God she survived it. But, I mean, wrestling kept me from going off the rails.
I'll tell you, when you say that, life and death, and that's why, here's my cheap plug for tonight, When It Was Real. That's why I gave it that title, When It Was Real. $20 on Crowbar Press, $10 on Amazon Kindle.
It's a bargain.
I'm also on Cameo. I'll tell you, your mother-in-law, she's a piece of shit or a witch or whatever. I'll say happy birthday, whatever. So it's nice and I'm like Tio, nice and cheap. But recently I've been listening to some pieces of Greg Valentine doing interviews. Man, he's great. He really puts it out there.
He tells it like it is. Very good communicator.
And he's still got everything, his faculties. He remembers things precision. So he said, when I started that angle, and he said with Chief J Strongbow, he said, I did Backlund, and then we did the Broadway and come back, and then he said it was Strongbow's idea, easy to work with. He said when he became an agent, he said a lot of guys bad mouthing. He said I never had any problem. I love Chief J Strongbow. He was easy to work with. He said my pockets were full of money. They paid us in cash back then.
That's all it counts.
He said, but the problem was people wanted to fucking kill me. I couldn't get to my car because they believed it. And they loved, he said, Backlund was the champion, but they loved Chief J Strongbow. And it was like, I broke his leg. They run the whole angle where the ambo takes him away. It's like people were trying to kill me. And it's like, yes. Oh, yes, you better believe it. Because, yeah, we knew from day one, at least with me, my mother and other people, telling you. And once in a while, things would slip and you'd have to say, well, I didn't see that, just ignore it. But still, it's like when you go to the movie or the theater, you suspend your belief and you just watch it, enjoy it, be a part of it. And watching this unfold before your very eyes was just, wow. I mean, Bruno became like family. Chief was like family. It's like you're attacking family members when you do these dastardly deeds. I mean, Benny, even the tag team title when it changed, that was big shit.
It was, yeah, and we got to see that, on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, usually it would be television. I would love it. Sometimes it was like a love-hate kind of thing. You'd be in an arena, like Baltimore, sometimes we were behind a couple of weeks. So we hadn't seen what happened yet on television. And the next thing you know, like here comes Tanaka or Fuji and Saito with the belts. And it's like, when the hell did that happen? Or the Lumberjacks came out against Monsoon and SD Jones at the Cap Center. It's like, but it was kind of neat. And now all of a sudden you're seeing a title match, but like I say, love, hate. Sorry you missed it. You go pick it up later.
But even the tag belts, because all we had the World Championship. Before the IC, we had the tag belts and and Bruno.
That's it. And I'm going to say it again. It wasn't. They didn't come up with the Intercontinental belt because Backlund couldn't get over, and they needed to put it. And I needed to pad the card. No, they didn't. No. It was the B-Towns, like I just read to you.
Sounded like somebody I know, Nikita.
What's that?
That sounded like somebody I know.
That's who it is, too.
Yeah.
No, hey, love the guy. We've been friends for a long time, but I disagree with that statement.
You do a great impersonation, though.
I used to get Nikolai. I'd call him up and say, Nikolai, it's Evan. How you doing? He's like, oh, Evan, what you doing now? I said, I got you, son of a bitch. Oh, I know it was you. I said, no, you didn't know it was me. And I'd get him with Chief, too. I'd call him. I'd say, hey, Mr. Peruzovich. Because that's what Chief would call him. He'd say, hey, Uncle Chief, what you doing? I said, I got you again, bastard. And he said, oh, no, I know it was him. I said, Nikolai. My God, I miss him every day still. Jeez. Man, Victoria and I were just talking about something we had done together on the date yesterday, and it was like, damn, he can't be gone. I still pick up the phone, try to call him, and we would laugh about the stupidest shit, farting, all that stuff. But it was fun.
Oh yeah,
it was just fun stuff. And like Hogan's Heroes, I used to call him Schultz. And he'd call me clean. He looked like Schultz, too. And if it was in that kind of setting, Nikolai would be like that. He wouldn't try to hurt you. He'd try to escape with you. He'd get the fuck away from the bad guys. That would be him. So he was a perfect real-life Schultz. All right, let's skip Bruno and Larry because we're going to cover that in depth, believe it or not. But Monsoon pinned the Baron at 8:31. Man, at this point in his career, Monsoon was not doing long matches, but to go 8 minutes with the Baron, that's a little bit unusual. But they did it. And of course, Baron's cool. Put Monsoon over. It was the fucking boss anyway. So it's like the foreman anyway. Not the boss, but the foreman. He's running the show. He's going to take care of everything. Sika pins Tito, 14 minutes and 5 seconds. Okay, that was smart, playing off the month before when it was Tito and Monsoon against the Samoans, making their debut at the Spectrum. And then now you got Backlund going against Afa instead of the Samoans going after Putski and Santana. Now all of a sudden, there's a title match. All right, Backlund beats Afa 19 minutes, 18 seconds. But here's the thing, folks, and it's coming up with Madison Square Garden too, and Benny and I will be covering that on the 24th. When Bruno hit the Garden with Larry for the first time, they did the same thing. Only Sika got the first match with Backlund because they didn't want to waste Patera. They didn't want to waste anybody else. Duncombe already had his run, so he was done. It's like the people are knocking the doors down to see Bruno and Zbyszko. So we want to put Backlund on the card, but just no disrespect to the Samoans, but they were tag team, so it was like, okay, it doesn't hurt to let Backlund go over on the Samoans. It doesn't really change anything. So then Pat Patterson ended the night pinning Bulldog Brower 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Hey, Pat, I salute you. Hey, I can only imagine what that match looked like. But Pat was probably bleeding from the lip, biting his lip the whole time. It's like,
yeah, sure.
What a gimmick. But I got to give credit to the old man. I guess he just felt a sense of loyalty to Brower, and they just kept on going. But that 79 run, which of course it's coming to an end, he's creeping into 1980, and he still hung around for a while. Brower did, but of course Pat, now you helped put him over. He beat Lou Albano January 12th at the Spectrum. Wasn't there in February, so they threw him in there with Brower, which meant absolutely fucking nothing. But still, Pat goes over on a heel, so good. All right, now this is what you paid your tickets for. Bruno against Larry Zbyszko. And I did notice that somebody had mentioned on one of the other pages, there was a big sign, but this wasn't just this night. Somebody in Philadelphia at the Spectrum, because we seen it when Bruno wrestled Superstar. It had a big sign with Italian colors, Bruno Sammartino. And believe me, I've seen that in ads many times.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Andre D, capital D like in dog, Giant. And then Chief J, Strongbow, and it's like, capital J, and it's like, boy, sometimes you just sit down and you think, these people must have been drunk. But they didn't give a shit. They just quick, put it on the ad, put it on the poster, get it out there, get it out there.
No quality control.
Good call, Benny. No quality control. So it was wild, and it was called One Fall to a Finish, Gary Capetta, which was unusual for a first-time run with anybody, but it was a sellout. No question. Every ticket for the building was purchased, and people were climbing over each other to get in there. I'd like to know the record. There's no way to backtrack how quickly it sold out. I'm sure there were some tickets available that night up in the nosebleeds, but I wonder how quickly that sold out once it got announced.
Yeah.
And it was announced February 9th on the previous Spectrum card. Now, I'm going to throw something out at you. You saw the match, right, Benny?
I did. Yes, sir.
Did you see that big blonde that they kept centering on? She was well developed in the chest area. Because I'm sure the executive producer probably said, okay, we see her. And then earpiece, enough. We're watching wrestling.
I know they kept panning to the crowd and to a lady, which I'm thinking, like, why are they doing this?
Well, obviously, why they did it with her. But here's what I want to bring up. Did you see the guy that she was with? The big guy with the dark curly hair and glasses? That was Mark Tendler.
Oh, really? Okay.
That was Mark Tendler, yes. And Mark, he was from up Jersey way. So wasn't that far to get down to the spectrum. And he loved Bruno. They were good friends. He was out of the business by then, but it was like, hey, they got good seats. He had to be there. So it wasn't I don't think they knew it was Mark Tendler from Joe Shit the Rag Man, but it was like they kept centering going. I don't know if that was his wife or whoever, but it's like, okay, she's gorgeous enough. Let's get to the wrestling. So Bruno comes in, and the picture that I put up on my Facebook page for this, I got a screenshot of it, and I love it. He stands there when they ring the bell, and it's like he's looking at Larry, and he's got a half-ass smile. Like, again, true fiction, folks. Let's remember now. They're playing this like it's the real thing, and it's like, come on, fucker. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, this is what you wanted, right?
You think you felt my might when we practiced together and worked out? Now I'm going to give it to you. And it was just great. Now, one thing you got to know about Bruno, when he would give you this, when he rubbed his, that meant arm drags. Bruno's going to do arm drags on you. And he certainly did that with Larry. They locked up down. He went and then arm drag. And it's like, oh, yeah. So then Larry, they're trying to, Bruno gets the tight waist on Larry. And it's like, you ain't doing anything, punk. I got you. Larry's got to go to the ropes. And then Bruno's like, yeah, really? You could see, you couldn't hear anything, but you could see it on his face. It's like, this is the way we're going to do it, huh? Yeah, you're going to go to the ropes. I thought, okay, you were supposed to be stronger than me. You're supposed to be younger than me. And the promos leading up to these, I didn't really see too much Philadelphia. I caught one. Baltimore, though. I loved the way they were playing it out when Larry would say, Bruno, it's not 1962. Wake up. You've had your neck broken. Look at your face. Your nose is all over your face. Your ears.
Yeah, your nose is splattered all over your face.
I know where you hurt, Bruno. I'm going to go for it. I am and Larry did, forgive me, folks out there, he did have Gary Capetta announce him as the new living legend.
Oh God, and that pissed the crowd off.
And it was like, if you've ever been to a concert or a symphony, I should say, man, it would just be like the whole horn section went off, and it's like beautiful, perfect. So, not that we needed it, just the actions alone, but the promos that led up to it. And what I loved about Bruno saying, like the first couple of promos that come in, he said, Vince, I actually, the first couple of days, as I was healing, I had to have blood transfusion and I had a concussion. I actually thought, gee, I wonder why, what did I do? How did I upset Larry? And then I was like, no, this Judas, no, this was in his mind all along. This was his plan. He didn't just come up with this. He had this in the back of his mind. And it was like, wow, that's, and like we say, it's reality. That's what sold this, along with Spiros Arion, because people say, this was the greatest angle ever. Okay, very close. I still think Arion was better because we knew Larry, and you could see Bruno throwing him around like a sack of fucking potatoes. Because, again, if you can't do it in real life, they're not going to let you do it in the ring. So it's like, Larry, come on. And I give Larry, salute him, all the credit in the world, because he had to know going in, you're not going to go out there and overpower Bruno or out wrestle him or do anything. You're just going to play cat and mouse, hit him in the balls, go to the ropes, all of the bullshit.
Yeah, do the heel shit.
But not just the heel shit, but it's like, you ain't going to be able to handle Bruno. And we're not going to insult people's intelligence and say, okay, all of a sudden Larry Zbyszko has got the power of superstar Billy Graham. Just not possible. So it was played out to perfection. So especially, Larry got the abdominal stretch on Bruno. And it was like, okay, Bruno he worked it, and then whoosh, there goes Larry, like you throw a chair across the ring. And then Bruno got the full Nelson on Larry. And that's when you could see he was selling it, but it's also, Bruno's got it. Look, there's a lot that goes on in there, people. There is egos. There is one-upmanship without a doubt. And I think Bruno just showed, hey, and Larry's face was Pain City. And sometimes, what are you going to do with a full Nelson? You can pull it back somewhat, but it's there. And it was like, man, he could have snapped Larry's neck if he wanted to. You could feel that. You could see it. And it's like, what the hell, man? You wanted Bruno to kill him. But it was kind of like, okay, Larry's doing his job. So Bruno backed off. He gets to the ropes again, And when Larry got to the ropes, it was like, holy mackerel, somebody call the ambo. This guy's ready for the stretcher. So Larry got, like he did on television, slammed Bruno into the buckle. Well, that shit hurts. Bruno goes down.
You could hear that, though. When Bruno hit that buckle, you could hear it.
Well, Benny, good point, because I think it was like, we got to get you over somehow, too. So, give me a good fucking shot, And Bruno, hey, the king of all, without a doubt. So he would take it. And he definitely took it. Now, I noticed George was there. Did you see George on the outside?
Very cool.
He had several cameras with him, along with Cunliffe. It was Joe and his brother, the two Cunliffe brothers. Joe was a little bit heavier. Ron, I believe, was the other one. And they were usually at ringside doing photography, like for wrestling news or for the programs, until Vince shut everything down in '83. And then you would see them they purchased tickets because nobody was given tickets back then. So it was like they were regulars, kind of like you'd see a guy named Carl Rapp, a kind of heavy-set older guy with white hair and dark glasses. He used to be with an older lady. I guess she must have died, but he was still coming. So Larry got a third abdominal stretch on Bruno, threw him off, and then Bruno started the hammerlock, where Bruno dances you around the ring, and then down you go. And Backlund would do the row when he'd get you in an arm bar, when he would row back, but Bruno would do, yeah, and the fans are counting, and Bruno's 15. Just wearing that fucking arm out, And Dick Worley, he wasn't mic'd, but you could hear him. He says, "Come on, Larry, he's gonna break that arm. Gotta give it up. Come on, And Larry's like, no, you can hear him scream, but when he starts working on the arm. And then Larry gets out, and Bruno gets it back down again, dances him around, and there he's working on the arm. And Bruno looks up at everybody, and he's showing like, I'm gonna break it. And even Whirly's hollering, "Come on, Larry, he's killing you. You're going to lose that arm. Come on." And no, he wouldn't go for it. So then Larry got to his feet and bang, hits Bruno with a solid elbow to the face. I mean, that looked like a pretty stiff shot. What are you going to do? You're going to throw an elbow back. You're going to probably catch somebody in the face, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to look, but I think he really nailed him. So then Larry took over, and it was wild because some of the whips into the buckle Bruno took, like you said, not just the smash, but when he was thrown in. I mean, because Dick Graham mentioned, he said Bruno's back, his back is bleeding and is bruised from some of the abuse he's taken tonight when they were fighting a little bit on the outside. But then Larry slammed him down into the mat, and look, we talk about, regular Joe has a car accident, you got whiplash, oh my God, how the fuck did they take those whips into the corner? I mean, you would try to position yourself so you turned, but Bruno wasn't turning. He was like catapulting out of the corner after he nailed it. It's like, holy shit. But they did it. They had people, they got them there. They didn't just walk through the match. They poured it out 1,000%. So then Larry just kept Bruno on the outside. He kept kicking him. You know, Bruno's trying to get in the ring. Larry kicks him, and then Bruno makes his way back in, and then he's in the corner, and Larry's on him. And he's on Bruno. He's got him trapped in the corner, and he's laying into shots, kicks, punches. He's working Bruno. And then Bruno, he grabs the ropes, and he starts to get himself up. And Larry's still trying, just like you've seen everybody else through the years. And he's trying. And then Bruno starts that crawl, that walk.
I call it the crab. Yes.
The crab is perfect.
Yeah.
And he's making his move. He almost looks inhuman. And, you know, Larry's like, what the fuck? You know, bang. This shit ain't working now, is it? Bang. And then Bruno's like, rah! He explodes. And he just goes to work on Zbyszko. And I hate it because it says, and somebody mentioned, they put it up there, that Sammartino had to hit the referee. Larry Zbyszko defeated Sammartino by disqualification after 1832 after Sammartino hit the referee. He didn't really hit him. He just threw him.
Kind of shoved him, yeah.
And Worley was like, you know, you can see it. Fuck my neck. It's like, yeah, because Bruno wants murder. And then Larry got his leg stuck, and Bruno's stepping on his throat and pulling up on the rope. And it's like, I'm going to kill him. That's it. He's lost his mind. Even Dick Graham said, Bruno Sammartino's lost his senses. Here comes Monsoon. Dominic. Patterson hit the ring. And Arnold Skolin, and it's like they're able to get Bruno off of him, and then Larry drops to the floor, and he's still running his mouth, and you know Bruno is just like ah. But now the state athletic commissioner, John Esposito, was there. I believe he was the one that called for the match to be stopped. When you really get right down to it, because when Gary Capetta makes the announcement, he said, time of the match, 18 minutes, 32 seconds. The State Athletic Commission has stopped the match. Not Dick Worley, because Worley was still kind of dazed. And the winner, Larry Zbyszko. They didn't really say disqualification.
They never said DQ, right? Okay.
It wasn't you. I heard the same thing. They just said it was stopped. But the winner of the match, Larry Zbyszko, and Bruno just grabs the ropes, and it's like, people have said this before. Those ropes, they're like cables, and Bruno's about ready to tear them off, you know. And he's he's shaking the damn things, and it's like, holy shit of shit! What a performance! People just loved it. So,
Nikita, I got to ask you a question. So, like this,
lay it on me, my brother. Lay it on me.
It's been on my mind all week. And maybe it's premature to ask it because maybe it's going to spoil other shows, but do you think that Bruno created a monster by not see now I get that, you know, there's a lot of money in the feud and, you know, Larry got over and it worked, but do you think at some point he should have destroyed Larry? Because I when I say created a monster, because now when Larry goes on, if Bruno couldn't beat him, then, you know, realistically, nobody else should be able to beat him.
Now, in the Garden on June 19th, Larry beats Backlund by blood, cut him open. But Larry never got a return match because that was the build-up Shea Stadium. But the Garden was going to be dark until September 22nd, meaning I think it was Democratic Convention or whatever. So that's why they go to Shea Stadium. If you look through the years, like the first one with Bruno and Pedro, Garden wasn't going to have anything for a couple of months. So you're going to put it in Shea Stadium. So build a big angle to fill up a baseball stadium or football too. And then it was like same thing in 70. Well, 76 really was to save the company because, you know, Ali against Inoki was like, are you fucking kidding? And so it's like Bruno. We told the story. Bruno had to come out of a sick bed, and he did the job. And it was like Bud Carson, good friend. Bud says they should have gave the belt to Zbyszko. He was on fire, but it's like, Bud, he wasn't going to beat Backlund. Then we had him in Baltimore twice, Larry against Backlund. Good matches. Second match, Pat Patterson was the ref, but nobody believed it. This worked because we wanted Bruno to tear his head off and shit down his neck, but it was, we never thought for a minute he was going to beat Bruno. Did you?
No, not for a second. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Bruno did decisively win, I guess, at Shea, but I thought at some point Bruno should have beat him to a bloody pulp because it's Bruno. I just think he set the bar too high for Larry, where, and Larry even said that Bruno set it up that way so that he could work other programs and not get beat because Bruno couldn't beat him. But I almost think that backfires.
They had two matches at the Spectrum, Backlund and Zbyszko. And the first one, Larry had his knee taped up, and he was selling that. And then the second one, Tony Atlas was the guest ref. So, of course, they had a little program. And Tony Atlas said it best when it was Larry's swan song. I believe it was January 10th of 81. And after the match, they interviewed Tony. He's like, Zbyszko gets out there and he runs his mouth. On the promos, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And then when you get him in the ring, all he does is runs away. He's all mouth. And it's like, that's true. Tony hit the nail on the head. Larry does a lot of talking, but then he did a lot of running. So, no, there was never.
And that became his trademark when he was in the AWA. He was the master of the stall.
Now, go back a little bit further. Like Backlund, they put him with the Samoans, even in Madison Square Garden, which will be coming up. But the old man, Vince Sr., did not think this was going to work. Bruno convinced him. It's like, nobody's going to care. But then he was like, ooh, I was wrong. So then that's when they said, okay, Backlund against the Samoans on those nights when we got Bruno against Zbyszko. And then, that way we don't kill any of the top draws that fill a house. But this was it. Once it took off and they were like, wow, okay, you were right, without a doubt. And I heard it was Larry's idea to do the whole thing, not Bruno's. He came to Bruno with it, and Bruno was like, okay, but you do it my way. Shut up and listen. And listen, I'm the luckiest bastard on the face of the earth. I take Joe or Lou Gehrig's line, but I learned one thing through the years. Shut the fuck up, listen to what they tell you, and just do whatever you're told, and that you'll work fine. So Larry did that, and it was beautiful. Because he's got people convinced, and somebody like Bud Carson, and Bud Carson loved Bruno, still does, and it was like, he got Bud Carson convinced that you should have been champion, so you did a damn good job. Okay, now, Benny, I want to ask you a question. That picture that I told you about from the locker room, Pittsburgh, do you have it? Can you put that up? So I want to play a little thing here with the gang.
There we go.
All right, and it's going to play into what we're going to cover, our Easter egg tag match. The Chief and Andre against Joe Turco, Pancho Valdez, and Thomas Marin. But right now, this is a highly controversial shot. Nothing dirty or stupid, but can you name the people in this picture? To our friends out there, send it in to Benny. I can't see until we have the replay and the rewatch. Can you name everybody in this picture? And two of the three, famously, they get wrong almost every time. I don't know why, but when we explain it, we'll give you the answer before we sign off the show. Just a little thing to have some fun with.
Yeah, take a crack at it.
Yeah, can you name who's in this picture? But we'll go over the tag team Easter egg match. Now, it took place November 13th of 73. And the Chief and Andre, I mean, they were just on fire. And they legitimately were very good friends and loved each other. I mean, loved. And believe it or not, they did not wrestle together in Madison Square Garden only 3 times. You think it's a lot more. And then it was the first time with the Chief and Andre against Otto von Heller, whose name just came up again recently, and Don Leo Jonathan on the April 29th card with Kowalski against Bruno. Then they against 73 or first one was 73. It was November show with against Lanza and Stasiak. Now Stasiak would he would win the belt a couple of days later and then lose it to Bruno the next show. So they didn't want to hurt Stan the Man. So Lanza took the fall, but that was the first time the Chief and Andre got it together in the Garden. Then the last time was in 1977. White Wolf's injured, so the Chief and Andre against Patera and Nikolai. So that was a good thing. It was like, okay, they were going to get revenge. Then the Chief continued his feud with Patera, without a doubt. And so it carried on. That was the boy, what a card that is. We're definitely going to cover that one in June, the June 27th card. Oh my God, what a night. But then the next time, okay, it was Chief and Jules with Andre in 1982 against Fuji Saito and Mulligan on August 30th. But just Chief and Andre. I want to show something here. I saved this picture to prove. Can you see? There it is. That is Andre the Giant sweater.
Holy crap.
Yes. And one night, Chief's brother, Cadillac Sal, got cold, and Andre said, "Here, take my sweater." And of course, it was, he said, "Keep it." It was a souvenir. My wife, Victoria, and I got in that thing together over at we were visiting up there with Chief, and you still had room. If we would be stranded, if we were stranded on a mountaintop somewhere freezing, we could have stayed warm in that thing. It was unbelievable. But the man was a giant. There's no bullshit. He was a legitimate, tried and true giant. So you got these. It was a handicap 6-man. And it was funny the way it was positioned in those days. Vince's table was not behind the camera. He was off to, let's say you're facing the ring, he would be off to the right. So, and it was great. Buddy Wagner was the ring announcer. He introduces the first three. Then he says, "Without a doubt, one of the greatest tag team combinations ever assembled. I'm talking about Chief Jay Strongbow and Andre the Giant." And then they come out and people are going crazy. And Vince says, "Yeah, without a doubt, you know, you got to recognize Strongbow and Andre is a great tag team combination." So right out of the gate, the three of them attack, and Andre and Chief come back. Now Thomas Marin was looked like a black, almost like what I'm wearing.
Like a ninja, yeah.
Yeah, just wearing like a black top with the pants. But Chief chased everybody out of the ring. Joe Turco was wearing yellow. He wasn't wearing his traditional red trunks that had the devil pitchfork, because he did look like a fucking devil with that, like a musketeer almost. The way
he did, yeah.
But he was wearing yellow trunks and black tights. Unfortunately, and luckily, Joe Turco wasn't the guy that was stuck in the corner. What would become a trademark where Andre would get him in the corner and Chief would get a running start and jump on Andre's back. They called it Buck back in my day as a kid. You would play Buck and see how many you could get in the corner. But again, Turco wasn't the last guy, like his back up against the buckle. I believe it was Marin that took the hit. But Wee Willie Weber was the referee. So Thomas Marin, he started using a foreign object. They got, chopped away. Chief gets the sleeper on Turco, 6 minutes, 48 seconds, but Andre's standing over him, just like this, with two fists, bang, bang. If anybody comes up,
that was great. It was very entertaining.
Don't you love it? I mean, in those days, okay, it was an hour show, but after promos, commercials, sometimes Vince would do a ringside interview. What did you have? 45 minutes? That's it. But we lived for that show every week. And it was the last match of the taping, because then you could see people starting to gather their belongings and head for the hills.
Did I don't remember Tomas Marian ever wrestling as a heel. Did I miss something?
He could go either way.
Yeah.
But basically heel, but he could go either way. All right. Did we have anybody chime in on the photo?
Yes, we do. We have Jane.
Okay.
Jane said Morales, Turco, Stazek, Soto, Monsoon, Pancho Valdez, George Pappas, and Mike Conrad.
Give that lady the prize.
Ding, ding, ding. Well, and then Greg, I think, had it pretty much nailed. I don't think he put I'm sure he probably just forgot, but he got everybody else.
Now, see, Mike Conrad with that fur, a lot of people think that was Eric the Red. No, they were trying to use him to look like Eric the Red. Eric the Red did have red hair, but Mike Conrad didn't. So it's kind of like, we're not saying anything bad. I think they called him Eric the Animal a couple of times in Pittsburgh.
Like Eric Burton and the Animals, yeah.
Hey, there you go. So that's just like a famous controversial photo that everybody throws back and forth. I think it's neat. I like the photo.
I like that. That was, yeah.
And I thought, well, like Pancho Valdez, somebody said that was Lou Albano, and it's like, okay, I can see that where you would maybe think it was Lou Albano.
If you look close, it's definitely.
But he always had the big eagle tattooed on his chest. And that was besides Pancho Valdez, that was what was his name? Hold on a second, because I'm going to show you something anyway, or I'm going to look for something. He was also known at his real name was. Oh, his real name is unknown. That would be what the hell did they call him? Joe. Shit. Here I am, caught with my pants down. They called him like Pancho Joe, or I know Amigo would know what the hell the whole deal was with him, because it was kind of wild. He didn't stay long. He didn't have that many matches, but he would go that whoa going through El Gaucho we had for a while too, and he was like a gimmick without a doubt, but somebody that would make you Gypsy Joe. That's what it was. They called him Gypsy Joe. Somebody that would make you'd be entertained. So that's our show for the night, except for this. I found this, and you can still see me, right? When I click on this page.
Let me see. Yeah, I can still see it.
All right. Here's what I want to take a look at, guys. I'm going to go back over. Oh, shit, if I can do it without losing it. This is listed on Spotify, all of our shows. And look, I'm still stunned. I really am stunned that here we are. Now, I should take that back. It's not all of our shows. It starts with episode 19 because we were on another network. We'll leave that alone. When we got onto the Playa Entertainment Network, our first show was episode 19, Tony Villano.
Yes,
and
Commissioner Tony.
That was a personal favorite for me. I mean, I've always
loved Tony,
respected him. When he got his award, Cauliflower, I was the first one to congratulate him. I had to be there. Our second show was a biggie. Shit, now see, I touched it. There it goes. Hold on a minute. Superstar Billy Graham was the next one. Episode, oh, good. Here it is again. Boy, you got to be so careful with these fucking touchscreens. Okay, Superstar Billy Graham was, I don't even think I can get back to where I was with it. Damn it. I wanted to go through Apple Podcasts when it was real. No. See, you got to be so careful with this shit when you touch it. I just wanted to go through and kind of give a quick review of our shows.
Oh, you mean as far as like, we'll guess and.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the ones that come to my mind, I loved Dr. Frank. I love Dr. Frank. That was a great, great show.
We didn't blow the charts away with that one, but yeah, I think a lot of the fans.
Some movies are great movies. They just don't do well at the box office.
But people enjoyed that insight. Dr. Frank, and he was the real deal. And he's a wild man. I mean, he's his own show, without a doubt. Frank is a great guy. The Three Amigos, for me, was
man.
Like, I'm
what a
sitting
thrill
there
that was.
pinching myself, Yeah, a thrill. That's a good way to say it.
For me, it was a thrill. That's how I'm going to say it.
And because it's funny, a neighbor of mine, he said, well, the first time he ever watched, he said, you don't really talk much. I said, no, I'm not going to talk much when you have those three men in there. No. The idea was let them have a session with each other, and that's exactly what it was. Oh, and by the way, say a prayer for Davey O. He just had back surgery.
Yes, prayers for Davey. I always tease Davey that the AMA is going to give him an award for keeping them in business.
Well, he posted it. He said, please don't grow up to be a wrestler. It's like, oh yeah. At some point,
in the same breath, though, I've asked him several times, would you do it all over again? He said, without hesitation, he would do it all over again.
The body knocks on the door and reminds you and says, hey, dummy, remember what you did?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
It's like eating at a good restaurant. Eventually the bill comes in.
I know, without a doubt. But we covered so much. I mean, and we're going to continue to cover so much. Believe me, we're just going to keep going strong. I mean, if things take off into a higher stratosphere, great. But Benny and I are humble. We definitely pour out from the heart and the head. We live this, it's like
this literally was my life for years.
Yes. And I believe the people that we touch with it, and because some of the things on my Facebook page, some hardcore police click on a lot of the things that I post, and they like it, they love it, because they remember what it meant to them.
Right. I mean, I don't care who you are. At some point, you were young and impressionable, and this made a huge impression on a lot of people.
And bad times. We've all had them. Child abuses. I am the king fucking poster child of child abuse.
I was an Italian mama's boy. Mama was in the hospital for a year and a half, and wrestling saved me.
Amen. Wrestling saved me. And it molds. When I hear people tell me their kid is a guy in a wrestling program, I'm like, oh, that's great. It teaches you so much. It teaches you discipline, respect. You're going to be healthy because you are just a workout machine at some point. It's great. Now, for the television version, yeah, because look, we certainly, I think, pour out to you out there that the people that we watched, like Bob Backlund. I mean, I was doing the wheel up until probably a couple of years ago. I'm just done, but my body cannot do it anymore. But I did. The first thing I did after my cancer surgery was to get back to the wheel. And that was 20 years ago, 23 or 24. So it was like the first one, I felt like my insides were ripping, but I was going to get back to the wheel. And it was like,
something so simple and so basic, yet so effective.
Yes, because our heroes did it. And when I was able to tell Chief, I said, I never smoked a cigarette. I never did any of that shit because I wanted to be like you, and it meant something to us. And because Nikolai would give people a lecture for hour. Because I remember one time, Victoria and I, we come to pick up early. My son was working. God bless him. He's a good kid. But he always worked. And he's sitting outside. He's smoking. I said, oh, I caught you, son of a bitch. You're smoking. I said, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to tell Nikolai. Oh, no, Dad, please. No,
anything but that, right?
Oh, yeah. And then for the next 5 years, he said, oh, Jason, I could not believe you were smoking. I said, that's the worst than me saying or doing anything punishment to you. I told Nikolai. So, yeah, he did besides drugs. See, that's why Sheik, I give him credit. God bless him too. He knew Nikolai and I did not do any of that. And he knew I was a policeman. So Sheik would go do his. I'd say, Sheik, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm off duty. I'm in a different state. Do what. Just please stay away from me with it. And he did, and Nikolai too. You know, it's like, yes, do your thing, and no kids involved. Fine, leave me the fuck out of it. I'm fine. But we just took them into. They didn't know it because I told Chief. I said, you don't understand what you did every week. It wasn't just watching you on television. You saved us. He's like, we were just making a living. I had no idea. It's like, yes. But when you would say, I need you to come to the arena because I'm wrestling Greg Valentine. Oh, I had to be there. Chief needs me. I got to be down there giving support. And in those days, before, even though Mulligan got stabbed in Boston, and, that was 1971, but you still didn't have a lot of security. So you could get autographs, pat them on the back, pat them on the arm, talk to them a little bit. You were able to interact, and it was just like no music, but then it was like you just look towards the dressing room, and as soon as you see the flashes, the cameras, it's like somebody's coming. Who is it? And it was like, wow.
No music, no pyro, just the guys.
You can't buy that. You can't trade that in. And I'm just happy. I'm grateful that I was able to live it without a doubt. And we tried to relive it for you out there.
What people don't get nowadays, and because it's not that way anymore, is wrestling was pure good versus evil. Bruno was good. Chief was good, and then you were horrified when a guy like Arion came back who was good, and all of a sudden you saw him attacking the Chief. It was horrifying.
Well, I'm going to reveal a little something. One of our highest rated programs was The Big Debate, Superstar and Backlund. Benny told me that before we went on tonight. And it's like, see, people don't realize they wanted good to triumph over evil. That was the way it was going to play out. Superstar had the long run, but that was good to make the money too. Like Bruno said when they interviewed him years ago, how come you don't give Strongbow a title? It's like, promoters are in the business to make money. That's not good box office. They want to see me in there against somebody that's evil, so I can put them down, or hopefully I'll put them down. They don't put me down, but it was a good idea. But I'm glad that show drew like it did. And by the way, gang, we were number 3 in Poland a couple of weeks ago.
We're still in. I think we're number 26. We're holding on there. They love us.
And we were listening to in Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago. And like, people in Hong Kong want to hear about wrestling from the 70s.
Last week, people were listening to us in El Salvador.
No shit, Benny.
All over the world. Yes.
Well, we say it again. We're grateful. Thank you, because otherwise, Benny and I just talk to each other, and that'd be fine.
Which I still enjoy, but yeah, it's so nice that you guys are all listening and chipping in with your comments.
Yes, please keep those cards and letters coming in, and it's an honor to be able to do this. Trust me.
Absolutely.
Benny, you got a poem?
Do I have a poem? Is the Pope Catholic? Here we go.
There we go.
Here we go. It's hard to believe it's been a whole year. We've tried oh so hard to bring you good cheer. So before you all, we both humbly kneel for believing in us and when it was real. Thank you.
Большое спасибо. До свидания, товарищ.